Now, when it comes to being a virtual assistant, if you've been doing this for a while or you've just been doing this for a few months, one of the things that you might be wondering is like, where is this going? Hey there, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, my goal set at this video is to walk you through what are different ways that you can grow as a virtual assistant this 2023. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, my name is Lian Laila Caba. I've been working from home since I was 15 years old and now run my own virtual assistant agency 2XU, and I post videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to run a business from home, so make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos. Now, when it comes to being a virtual assistant, if you've been doing this for a while or you've just been doing this for a few months, one of the things that you might be wondering is like, where is this going? How am I going to be able to grow? What are the ways that I can push myself? And honestly, that's one of the best things that you can really do when you're just starting out, is seeing what your limits are so you can push past them, and also learning a little bit more about yourself and what you can do and how you can serve your client better. The first thing that you can do to grow as a virtual assistant is to care, but not that much. So this is a piece of advice that I got for someone who was a virtual assistant for about 5 years. They're still doing it. They're still working with the same client. And one of the things that she said is, when you're a virtual assistant, you have to care about your client, about the goals, about the things that you are pushing towards, but not that much. What I mean by that is keeping in mind that sometimes when we get too attached to something for too long, whenever we have to change it or we have to swap or we have to switch gears, it's going to be harder for us to detach. So you have to have that care as a virtual assistant of, again, what the goals are, what you're moving towards, of what it is that you're doing, putting in that certain level of care when it comes to work. But again, not that much. It doesn't have to be that you are superly attached to this one thing, because life and business can change so fast. And it could be that you've been working on plan A for a while, have plan B kind of worked out, and C not really written at all, and you have to go with plan D. So you have to keep that in mind as you are, again, exploring, as you're doing different things, becoming a virtual assistant, that you have to care, but not that much. But I do want to add a little bit of a warning or caveat to that. You don't really know how much you should care about something until later on. Once you've failed a couple times, once you've blundered a couple times, you'll then start learning, like, oh, okay, this is something where I would know when to really give a lot of my care and love and attention to, versus things like, oh, I know this will pass. So then you have a little bit of that discernment of what are the things that, again, I should care about, and what are the things that I should probably just push through until the finish line and know I'm not super attached to it on what the outcome would be. Second thing you can do to grow yourself as a virtual assistant is to just stay up to date on tools and trends. Now, this is something that for you would be super duper helpful as you are working with your client, because for them, they might be super just right into their business. They don't know what's happening in the outside world. But for you, you can sign up for things like Google Trends. You can, of course, look at what's trending on TikTok. You can also look at what people are just talking about a lot. So then you can align yourself and help your client align themselves and their business to what could be relevant change. So for example, us here at 2XU, in the last video I did, I talked about how you can use AI as a virtual assistant. That's because AI is becoming such a relevant thing and trend, but I see it as something that could be much, much bigger. So then for my assistant, what she did is she did all of the research of like, what are the ways we can use AI? What are the things that are limitations for it? So then for me, I am able to realign, like, okay, this is going to be the focus for 2023. So when you're doing that, when you're the one who is ahead of oh, I think this is an opportunity for us, you're able to bring that to your client. Next thing that you can do to grow yourself as an assistant is to really develop your communication skills. Now, this is something that I cannot emphasize enough. I talk about this. I have videos here on my channel on how to upgrade your communication skills, because when you're working remotely, your communication skills can be a make or break to how successful you are when it comes to working with your client. So if you're right now thinking of different ways of, hey, should I communicate more? Should I communicate this way? Try to experiment and see what works best with you and your client when it comes to communicating. We have executive assistants in 2XU where it's just best for them to chat. They never do a call. But then we have some assistants where their client really needs that connection to start off their day, so then they know what to do for the next day. So they're able to connect and sync what are the main priorities throughout the week. So upgrade your communication skills, upgrade your follow-up skills, upgrade the way that you can talk and be able to clearly and concisely be able to give people information. Because again, you're working remotely, it's a little bit more nuanced of what are different things that they might be thinking. You have to be clear on your side so then it can be clear for them as they're receiving that information. Next thing you can do is develop your solution. Now, what I mean by develop your solution is when you're a virtual assistant, you are solving a problem. They are hiring you because there's something that they're limited by that they're not able to do themselves. That's why they needed a virtual assistant. So one of the ways that you can grow yourself is to just develop your skill, whatever it is that you bring to the table that solves a particular problem for your client. So let's say that your client just really needed someone who's super detail oriented because things fall through the cracks for them. They don't know how to follow through. They don't know how to follow up. So then for you, learning more about how to be detail oriented, learning how other people organize things, learning how to upgrade yourself in the very skill that your client really needed you for. So try looking at that. Try asking even your client of like, what are the top 3 things that I help you with? So then you can hone in and keep upgrading and developing that solution that you bring to the table. And of course, with that, the next thing you can do to grow yourself is then investing more in your skills. As you're developing that solution with your client, is looking at like, hey, what are the other things that I could be really good at? So for example, just for me a little bit, I thought I was just a really good writer. That was all that I could do. And then I started doing graphics. I started doing video editing. I started doing YouTube videos. So it was a gradual thing, but I kept just exploring related to currently what is my skill, which is still, content creation. What else can I do? So just keep asking yourself and doing that, and start reading books, start going through courses, start finding mentors here on YouTube like me who can help you develop those skills further. Next thing you can do is to build a network. Now, this is something that admittedly I haven't been the best at, just because like a lot of different things that's going on at the moment. But when it comes to building a network, you're building a space of people who are either in the same position as you, they're starting out as a virtual assistant, or even a little bit higher than you. They have different experiences already as a virtual assistant, and they can help you, and you can tug everyone else with you. Now, I do have a whole Facebook group, the Virtual Tribe. Admittedly, I haven't been super duper active on it, but I'm really ramping up in the next year. So you guys can go ahead and still join that Facebook group. But one of the things that you really want to do is to build that network of like potential clients, potential people to work with, potential people who are again in that next level. So then you can ask them questions, making sure that you give them a lot of value. A really good book to study on this, if you guys just want to dive into that a little bit more, is a book called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi, if I remember right. And it's just a really good book on just diving in how you can build a network for yourself. Next is to, of course, make sure that you ask for feedback, or creating a space for you and your client to be able to ask and receive feedback back and forth. So this could be that every month you guys just have a space of like, hey, what did I do really well this month, and what did I kind of suck at this month, and what are the different ways that I can work better? Because then, of course, we are all blind to our blind spots. It's named that for a reason. So when you're able to ask for specific feedback on like, hey, how did I do on taking initiative? How did I do on creating this system? How did I do on improving myself this month? Because then you're able to, again, just redirect of like knowing, okay, this is now the focus for the next month. And then, of course, with that, you can start creating a plan of action. Being able to receive feedback or being able to study a lot and take courses and take information from the world is nothing when you don't create a plan of action of how are you actually going to implement this in your life moving forward. Next thing you can do to upgrade yourself as a virtual assistant is to start learning project management. And I say this because even if you just go through the basics of what project management is, it's going to be really elevating you as a virtual assistant, because now you have, rather than just being focused on the tasks that you're doing, you're then able to see the outcome of what it is that you are working towards. You're not just here, you're in a different level when you are studying project management. Now, I do have a video on how to do project management as a virtual assistant you guys can check out, but basically you can then start looking at outcome instead of tasks, and it's one of the ways of upgrading your value inside of your client's business. And speaking of project management, one of the skills that would be really awesome for you to keep growing and upgrading is learn documentation skills. Now, what I mean by this is creating standard operating procedures, checklists, of how things are done inside of your client's business. Because when you're able to do this, it makes it super easy for you to replicate yourself or train someone else on how to do this. It makes it super easy for you to have a checklist to check your work against. And it also frees you up and your client from not being the only ones who know how to do this. So you can fully be able to take vacations, fully be able to work remotely, because you have a way that it doesn't matter what computer you use, you have a step-by-step process on how to do certain things. And of course, one of the biggest ways that you can probably upgrade yourself and work better as a virtual assistant in the next year is to build yourself systems. What I mean by this is beyond just working with your client, there's you. There's who you are, there's what you do, and the things that you're working yourself towards. So what I mean by building yourself systems is how are you taking care of yourself? How are you working towards your goals? That's why in this channel, I talk about how to build your goals, how to build your habits, how to do self-development, because you want to be growing yourself consistently in one way or the other. That whether or not you're working with this client or that client, you're constantly growing who you are to become the person that you want to become. Whether that is an amazing career woman, whether that's starting your business later on, but you are gearing yourself into something to pull you forward, so then you don't have to keep pushing yourself with motivation. You're getting there because of discipline. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there and comment below what are the ways that you are upgrading yourself in 2023. I would love to know. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out these two playlists right here and the latest video right here. And I hope you guys have an awesome day. Remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!